Minority Advocacy Council.
Hello, Jonesboro. This is meteorologist Tim Root with your KLEK 102.5 forecast. It'll be partly to mostly sunny today in the mid-50s, light west winds. 35 to 40 tonight, mostly clear, almost calm. Sunshine, a few scattered clouds, near 60 Sunday. Chance of showers late Sunday night. And it looks like a cloudy day for Monday with occasional rain showers that will spill into Monday night. The high Monday near 60. Your life, your music, we're KLEK 102.5 FM.
It's 12:01.
KLEK LP Jonesboro, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council. It's now time for our Thoughts on the Matter, a program offering opinions from all sides of the issues concerning local, state, and national topics of importance to the Jonesboro community. The views expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of KLEK 102.5 FM, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council, or our underwriters, donors, or sponsors.
Good afternoon, everyone. You're tuned into our Thoughts on the Matter on KLEK 102.5 FM. I'm your host, Kabila Jones, and my guest today we have a special guest who's not a part of the regular panel with Mr. James Bickham. We have Brother Bernard Cobbs, and we have Amanda Donovan. And so I'm going to let Mr. James give us an introduction of himself. But before we do that, I have to give the disclaimer, even though it was just stated, the thoughts and views on the show are those of the participant and not necessarily those of the participant. The thoughts and views expressed on this show are those of the participant, not necessarily those of KLEK. We do appreciate everyone's input, but we ask you to please be respectful due to the sensitivity of this topic. All thoughts and opinions are welcome, but please be respectful. Without further ado, I'll let Mr. James please give us a brief introduction of himself.
Hey, James Bickham. I'm a videographer. I'm a real estate agent, and I travel the world. I've got some different views about different things. I'm super vocal, and I'm really excited and pleased to be here with you guys this morning.
I really appreciate you. I invited Mr. James because, as we know, there has been some recent violent crimes that happened here in Jonesboro, Arkansas. And again, we're going to use those crimes as a reference point, not the actual details of the crime, to discuss, is Jonesboro more or less safe than cities with higher crime rates? You know, we hear a lot about Memphis because we're kind of next door to them, almost next door to them. And then other cities around us, Little Rock, Blytheville, Osceola, and then other cities in other states. So we're going to use Jonesboro as a comparison. You know, are we more or less safe due to recent things that have happened? And so, Mr. James, why don't you please start out telling us the thoughts you had on the recent incidents and crime as a whole?
Well, I've been in Jonesboro for 13 years. Obviously, we're going to start and say that the recent events are terrible, awful events, and using that as any kind of a scapegoat to propel any kind of position is not the right thing to do. And I just want to say that we're here to have a discussion, and I don't want to push, I don't want anybody to feel like I'm trying to push any agendas or anything like that. So, in saying that, from my point of view, being here for years now, being in the community, Jonesboro is not necessarily getting worse. From a crime point of view, it's not bad. It's a safe community, and that's one thing that I think caught your attention with my post is I've been battling and talking about it because people are saying that Jonesboro's unsafe, Jonesboro's almost unfit to live in now, and it just blows my mind and baffles me that people are pushing that and saying that about our community.
And I saw another comment from someone that I know that was born and raised here that said that the crime rate is not new. Things have been happening for years and years and years. Yes. It just seems over time people have become a little numb to what's going on, either because it's not happening in their neighborhood or it's not happening at such a high enough rate that we pay attention to it. And then when things happen back to back, then everyone's all up in alarm. So it's nothing new.
I kind of think we get mundane and not used to it. It's kind of basically the bad phrase for that, but it's kind of similar to that. When you have a shock effect of how many murders did we have within 3 or 4 days?
Two.
2 murders, 2 shootings.
You know, that's a lot to deal with at the first of the year. You know what I'm saying? But it happens every day. You know, somebody's getting robbed. Somebody's getting, you know, drug dealing going on down the street. It happens every day. Now, me, myself, and I've lived here all my life. I have traveled the world, you know, been to all the states except for Hawaii, Canada twice, Mexico 3 different times. I choose to stay in Jonesboro, Arkansas. To me, I think the crime rate has gotten a little bit worse compared to when I was younger, but not nearly as bad as what it is in Houston, Texas. Not nearly as bad as what it is in New York City. I will never, ever go back to that town. Ever, 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 ever again. I've only been once. And let me just tell you, those people up there ain't friendly, and they will rob you for $2. Yeah. So.
I want to ask this question. Do you all feel that the individuals who feel that Jonesboro is becoming less safe are not looking at the bigger picture? They're looking at things from one-sided perspective. That Jonesboro, compared to other cities, yes, what's the population here? Is it like 70,
Yes.
80,000?
It's estimate anywhere from 70 to 85,000, and on any given day, especially on weekends, we're over 100,000. Just people visiting and shopping. But we'll have census come in, you know, in 2020, so we'll get a more accurate number.
Census. I think that I think social media has played a huge role with that sentiment that Jonesboro's getting worse, because now people, one, can see everything versus what the newspaper news just puts out there, and 2, people have a platform to voice what they think. And so even if I don't know what's happened, if I look at Amanda's post and she's posted something along the lines of Jonesboro's getting bad, crime rates skyrocketed, even if I don't know what's going on, I'm going to take that and I'm probably going to run with it on someone else's post.
Right. Instead of reading it.
Yes.
Now,
looking at it.
I'm guilty of posting stuff to my Facebook to read later because when you got 3 kids, 2 businesses, a husband, so you know what I'm talking about. It's hard to, especially when it's a 5-minute read, to sit down and read it.
Yeah.
But I try to tell people, even though you see it on social media, it doesn't mean it's true. For one, you need to check to see where that come from, and you actually need to read it for yourself to have your own opinion.
Yeah.
Just because we have similar views don't mean we're going to agree 99.9% of the time. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to agree all the time on every subject. Right. So make sure you do your reading and your research before you jump to conclusion.
Yes, but people don't do that.
Yeah, Brother Cobb's been a little quiet. You have any thoughts on this matter?
I was trying to find
tired.
it on the radio. I mean on my phone. I can't find it just yet. But I'm listening to everyone talk, but Jonesboro has grown and it's still growing. And so with growth, you're going to have this kind of problem. It grows too fast. Okay, we're talking about the situation. Okay, look at the streets here. We've been trying to get bigger streets, better streets. Traffic in Jonesboro is a murder. You cannot get around Jonesboro
I'll
on these
use
streets.
the term of John Street. It can be worse. Well, I have been in worse. I don't, the thing about it is we got to fix it before it gets there. That's the way I feel about crime. We know it's here. And it can get worse, but how do we fix that? How do we fix the problem? Why don't you fix that one in the very beginning instead of wait till it's here?
How do you fix it?
How do you fix it?
In the home.
In the home.
In the home. It all starts from home.
I agree.
And, we live in a society where unless a man or a woman works 3 different jobs, it is a 2-person household that has to work nowadays. Mama and daddy is not home. So, there ain't nobody home babysitting the kids. I know it starts at home.
It comes from home because if no one's there, the child gonna do this.
I know.
The child gonna run wild and rampant. If the parents would stand up and take a hold on their children while they're young, the Bible says, spare the rod, spoil the child. Or people said bend the sap. No, he didn't say that. Let me take that away. That didn't say that. He said something else. It just jumped. But it said bend the sap while it's young. People said bend the sap while it's young. Because in other words, when a tree grow up, you can't change it. It's hard to change it.
My husband's like that.
Get those kids while they're young. Let them know the consequences of their action. Let them know you don't go around and do this. I don't care what nobody said. Sick and stones may break your bone, but words do hurt.
Yes, they do.
Words do hurt.
Make you want to
But
punch
it
somebody
don't,
too.
right, but then you come to the other side of it, you say, no, you don't want to do that because they might punch you back.
I know.
So you got to think about the
Yes.
things that we put ourselves in.
All right, we have a Facebook comment from Ms. Lachey. She says, how do you fix it? You have to do more than talking and go within the communities, mentor the youth. Okay, so you all mentioned it starts at home, but then outside of that, and this is my personal opinion, so please don't attack me, anybody. We need to get back to the village mentality
Yes.
of it takes a village to raise a child. We need to, and
I watch out for my neighbors' kids.
Attacking myself is preaching to myself as well. We need to, if we see someone, a child, a young person doing something wrong, going on a wrong direction, we need to be bold enough to stand up to them and say, okay, I wouldn't advise that. But
Okay, let me go there a little bit further. Since Jake's saying adult, okay, this brother might tell me, I'm so mad at so-and-so, I'm going to go over there and do something to him. I'm going to go there and do, instead of calming him down, what we do?
We
Hype him
picking
up.
a fight.
We hype him up.
We picking a fight.
That's where it comes from. It's your surroundings can stop you from doing some of the things that you do.
okay.
We know a person gonna go shoot up Jonesboro School. Some people know that, but what do? They don't do anything. They don't tell nobody. But somebody done told you what they're getting ready to do.
I know what I did in that circumstance. I went and told the school with my grandparents, and the school still didn't do nothing. I know. I was there in that one situation.
Another question to add to the mix. This is a comment. Lachey says, and something else should be done about the biased news reporting. Do you feel that the news, the media, the angle that they report the stories on, does that have an effect on individuals' thoughts and views concerning the crime rates and the people as a whole in the community?
It's their job to report what's going on. It's not. I don't feel like the news skews anything, and I don't feel like they project anything that is not really happening. They put what happens out there. People take it and run with it. That goes back to the social media. They put it out there, and people take that and run with it and twist it in their own way.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Back before social media, you didn't have that. You had the news, and that's what it was. You talk to your friends about it. That's just about it. Now you can project that and put that out there to thousands of people at any given time. Even if it's a skewed point of view, even if it's a wrong point of view, you put it out there, people see it and run with it.
But see, another thing, Jonesboro itself, we're talking about Jonesboro. When I came up here 40 years ago, Jonesboro did not put all this stuff in the paper. A lot of stuff happened in Jonesboro. They painted Jonesboro as a pretty cool time. Businesses started coming because it's a pretty cool time. They did not report all the crime. They did not. But now they're reporting more. More people is here. You done got them here now. Know what you gonna do with them? You got the big business to come. They bring in other people. Now what you gonna do? Now you want to say it's a problem. It was a problem back then.
Yeah. They just chose to cover it
Right.
up. You know me, I'm all about transparency. If it should be in the paper, it should be in the media, but we shouldn't just see, in my opinion, just the horrible stuff that goes on in our community and our nation.
Correct.
We need to show both, in my opinion, the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's just my opinion.
All right, we have another Facebook comment from Dr. Lily Fears. She says, I agree with the panelists. I think we should salute the many parents who are raising kids and getting good results. There are more of them than there are those who missed the boat. Hashtag it takes a village.
Yes.
Yes, I mean we know it takes more than one person, but I'm just telling you, if you put your family first, I don't care how many jobs you have, you put your family first, it'll pay off.
Yes.
It'll pay off.
And love your children. Talk to your children. Encourage them to talk to you. You know, I used to take it for granted about the 5 o'clock sit down supper with grandma and grandpa, and Sunday dinners with Granny. Always, God, that 4 hours of my time to talk to Granny. Come on now, you know.
So
I just miss her, you know. But with the community involvement, you know, mentors, you know, even if they're a single parent, good mentors. Even if you're a good mentor, you know what's going on with your kids, and you talk to them. You relate to them. You try to preach them the good aspects. Now, it's on them as a person to choose what they're going to do with all the knowledge that they have been handed.
Okay.
So that's where I'm at. You know, it's more personal, individual, and we need guidance for our younger children to leave a better.
Well, I want to ask this question. I would love for Officer Evans to chime in if she can. She's watching
He's an
the live
officer.
feed.
Oh,
Evan,
I
Victoria.
thought his name was something else.
No. All right. So, even though, say, we as parents, we as adults, and responsible adults are doing our job, we also have the element of the law enforcement. Many people have lost either trust or respect or whatever the case may be. They don't have a great relationship with law enforcement. But what can we do as a community to try to increase our relationship and interaction and work with the law enforcement versus working against them?
Well, one, you can, as a parent, encourage your children that the cops are good guys and not bad guys. Now, I'm not going to say they're all good because they're human. We all are on an individual basis here. But in reality, an officer needs to be respected and trusted because they are there to protect your life and obey the law.
Mr. James?
I agree. So I'm pro police.
Okay.
Never had an issue with a police officer. I've never had a negative run-in with a police officer. It almost upsets me whenever I see people scold and are yelling at cops in different instances that the police officer has done nothing wrong. Now, there are bad apples, obviously, but as a whole, 90% of police officers, if I'm in a burning building, they're going to take off and run in that building to save me, whether or not I'm white, black, Mexican, Chinese. As a whole, they want to go home to their families. You know, there might be a small percentage. I'm not going to say that all of them don't wake up and think, "Oh, today's the day that something's going to happen." You know, today's the day I'm going to shoot somebody. No, they don't. They don't do that. If we teach our kids like I was taught, when a police officer comes to you, hands by your side, no sudden movements, talk to them, show them your ID, we both go home. If we were to pass that and to teach people, then I think that we would have a lot less instances, because when the cops come to us, when the police officers come to us to, whether it be investigate, talk, chat, pulled over, whatever that is, if our guard's up, then their guard's going to be up just as quick, and they're the one that can pull the firearm. They're the one that can take us to jail.
And most of them, they've been around it so much, they can smell it on you.
Yes.
Some of my family can do that.
So I drive about 60,000 miles a year for work. I've been pulled over quite a few times here and there. I got pulled over in the middle of Kansas last year, and when I get pulled over, one thing that I do, because I am a concealed carrier, do have a firearm on me pretty much at all times, and I roll all my windows down, my hands are on the steering wheel, music's off, car's off as soon as I pull over. And it sucks that I have to do that as a black man in America, but at the same time, that guarantees that when that cop walks up, he's not going to have anything to worry about. He's going to be able to see who's in the car, he's going to be able to smell what's going on, and we don't have any issues. I record all of my police interactions, and he came up to the window last year, came up to the window, "Mr. Bickham, I'm so-and-so. You know, I was going like 85 and a 40. I was running way behind. I was freaking boogieing. I was boogieing. It was terrible." But he ends up taking my ID, goes back to the car. I told him, "Officer, before I reach for anything, I do have a valid Arkansas concealed carry. I am armed. It's on my right hip before I reach." "Okay, cool. You don't reach, I won't reach." Perfect. Goes back, comes back, and he says, "Mr. Bickham, are you law enforcement?" "No, sir." "Are you military?" "I'm a military brat." "Okay, well, when I walked up to the car, you had all your windows down. You were attentive. You were polite. That speaks a lot about your character. You made the effort to just negate any issues. So I'm gonna tell you to slow your butt down. Have a good day." And I said, "All right, cool." And
that's when you're like, "Thank the
posted
Lord."
I actually posted that video. That video got like 150,000 views. Like a bunch of big time stations picked it up. It was really cool to see how that kind of snowballed. But
Right.
And I'm, saying what you all saying, the policemen are here for our protection. I mean, I'm pro-police also, but if you in the wrong, you just in the wrong.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's the way I feel about it. That's the way I was raised.
You paying taxes for this man, but you don't like him?
yeah.
Well, go somewhere else. You paying taxes
Yeah.
for your safety, for your security. Okay, if you're not doing anything wrong, you presenting yourself in the correct way, Why not? Why we gotta do that? Why you go to court? See what happens. Take your head off. Pull your pants up. Pull your pants up. Put the belt on. Don't come in like that.
Don't you come in here with no flip flops on. I want you in closed-toe shoes. And I want no shorts.
You got to follow order.
Okay.
I
order.
read an article a while back or heard something. The side of the road whenever you're dealing with police officers is not the time to argue and fight.
No.
Like, if they're having a bad day and they're on some BS, whatever it is, and they want to write you a big ticket or they want to do this or that, whatever, take it, go on. You don't need to argue with them, don't need to fight with them, because all that's going to do is lead to you getting arrested. It's going to escalate. They're going to call backup. They're going to pull the taser out, even though you may be in the right. But at the end of the day, you have to understand they quote unquote have the power in the situation,
right?
And we have to understand. I want to go home. He wants to go home.
And also, he don't know you.
Yeah, write me the ticket and let's just go.
Okay.
You know, they want to, like you said, they want to go home. And I know several police officers, they go through, depending on how many they pull over through a night, but it can be anywhere from 2 to 200, depending on what kind of night it is. And you think about how many people that, they don't know who you are from Adam. They're in fear just as much as you are of them.
Yeah.
And that's realistically.
All right, we're going to get ready for a break, but I want to read a few comments right quick. Dr. Lily Fear says, today's media feel they have to compete with social media, therefore they report bad news as well.
That's a very good point.
Kobe Parker says, if you're working 2 to 3 jobs, as a parent, it's hard to be engaged.
Yes.
And so I'll wait to read the rest of them when we come back because they're a little lengthy. But you're tuned in to Our Thoughts on the Matter. Please stay tuned and we'll be right back after these short announcements.
You're listening to Our Thoughts on the Matter on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Angie with your KLEK Learn Spanish Minute.
Okay, so we're gonna discuss language when approaching someone. No hablo mucho español. I don't speak much Spanish.
No hablo mucho español.
Okay, remember that hablo is not correct. The H is silent in Spanish, so it's hablo.
Hablo.
No hablo mucho español.
No hablo mucho español.
Perfecto.
I'm Angie, and that was your Learn Spanish Minute on KLEK 102.5 FM.
This is how we do it.
Hey KLEK, it's your girl Allie J, inviting you to come hang with us at Twilight Skate, January 15th for our 90s skate party. That's right, we're playing all your favorite 90s hits, jams, and classics in a special live broadcast on Facebook and KLEK 102.5 FM. It's only $5 to get in and $1.50 for skate rentals, Tuesday, January 15th from 6 p.m. until 8 p.m. And if you missed it last time, here's your chance to come kick it with KLEK at Twilight Skate, 2700 Phillips Drive for a night of the 90s. This event is a KLEK fundraiser.
This is how we do it. It's Friday night.
And now back to Our Thoughts on the Matter on KLEK 102.5 FM.
All right, welcome back to Our Thoughts on the Matter on KLEK 102.5 FM. I'm going to read a few more Facebook comments before we get back into our discussion. Okay, so Mr. Kobe Parker also says, and a lot of people aren't willing to take on the role of a mentor, so how do we address that? I agree with that, Kobe. Lachey says, all families are different. Everyone doesn't have 2 parents in the home. What do you do then? And then in reference to, I guess, a comment you made, Mr. James, you said in reality, James, it's not the same for the rest of us. Are you referencing the traffic stop situation, Lachey? And then one Shepherd says, when did Jonesboro become unsafe? I feel that Jonesboro is most definitely growing for the best. And then Lachey says, one is it becomes unsafe when people of color commit the crimes. Let's keep it real. Okay, so let's address that elephant in the room.
Say that one more time. She said what?
Lachey was referencing the previous person's comment said, when did Jonesboro become unsafe? I feel that Jonesboro is most definitely growing for the best. And then she said, it becomes unsafe when people of color commit the crimes. Okay, so let's address that elephant.
Okay, so
I
that,
don't. Okay,
okay,
good.
so that obviously is blatantly ignorant. People of color, people of all colors commit crimes. Jonesboro hasn't gotten a reputation or the thought process in some heads of being unsafe solely because of people of color. There's no telling how many white people steal, rob, have done other bad things in Jonesboro.
Less than 6 months ago, 6 people conspired to commit an arson, and they were all white on me.
Right.
Wow.
Like that's
So, come on.
I don't even think that needs to really be addressed.
No. It's individual. It's
that's not
color. I'm sorry.
And I'm not taking one side or the other on this.
Yeah.
I'm just asking, based on the comments you made on Facebook, James, do you feel, again, is it that fishbowl effect? People that live in essence, a fishbowl, they only see it from their perspective. So
Yes.
it seems as if more people of color are committing the crimes. And I know this discussion has come up even last year when more and more Black Americans were being killed, or it seems as if more Black Americans were being killed by officers. Again, this is not my personal opinion. Please don't come for me, people. This was a discussion but look at it as a whole, the population, if you look at the numbers individually, Black Americans make up a smaller number than...
It's 239 million people compared to white people, and we only make up I think it was 7. Anyway, it was 1/3.
Okay.
And so look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more.
I was in a debate the other day on Facebook, and when I'm debating, I try my hardest not to use facts that I haven't confirmed myself. And so there'll be times where, I actually will get on my computer and have the page on one, the debate on the one page, and I'll be Googling stats to make sure that I'm not, talking in any kind of skewed numbers.
Right.
Just 2 days ago, I wasn't able to find the 2018 statistics on how many Black men killed Black men. They haven't released those statistics yet.
Okay.
Versus police officers killing Black men. So I Googled for probably 20 minutes and could not find the stats because I don't know if nobody cared to compile it or do what, but I literally could not find the stats on black crime versus police officer on Black crime. Now, police officer on Black crime, it was posted everywhere. 280 some odd Black men killed last year, and you could find that stat, you know what I'm saying? But I just found it odd
weird
and intriguing, that I couldn't find anything on Black crime, but I could find everything on police versus Black crime.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That's just, it raised the flag. I was like, that's really interesting.
Yeah, I think
Okay,
those.
so I mean, like she was saying, Jonesboro to me is still a safe place, Black or white.
Yeah.
It's still a safe place. I mean, we're not the only one black on black, as they said, creating all this crime. A lot of things might not get posted. True enough, that was just amazing that it happened that day.
Yeah.
But how many other days things happen that don't get reported like that? But then everybody just said they escalated because it happened first day of the year. I don't care if it's the last day of the year.
Yeah.
It's never good to take a human life. Never, ever.
Yeah.
I'm going to read some more Facebook comments here. Dr. Lily Fierce says, at Kobe Parker, the city has block grants. Perhaps they could use a portion of the grants to incentivize mentoring programs and youth.
A lot of our nonprofits help with the community too. City Youth, Parker Park. There's a lot of nonprofits that help.
Churches are getting involved. I
churches.
mean, there's a lot of things, but it's up to us to get the kids there.
Right. And
The program was implemented. It's up to the parents to
Right.
get the kids there.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
that's-
also being an adult, let's just say you see, like I have seen, because I live down by Jonesboro High School, you have 15, 16-year-olds standing on the street corner waiting on their boyfriend to come pick them up smoking a Marlboro cigarette. Now, a lot of people drive on by.
Yeah.
I'm not those kind of people. I will get out and I will take that vape pen from them, or I will take that cigarette and tell them all about it.
Isn't that dangerous?
Well,
Well, that goes back to show you Jonesboro's not that dangerous. If she's able to get out there and
Well,
snatch
I live to a motto. You know, when you have touched death and seen death, I died for 2 minutes and 36 seconds due to a drunk driver. I live by the motto, if it's my time to go, it is my time to go.
That's right.
And if it's the right thing to do, it's the right thing to do, and I can't do anything about it. You can put yourself in a bubble all day long, but you still gonna meet your maker one day or another.
Let me ask this question. Okay, so as we see on social media, because that seems to be the court of law and the place to go where people go and express their views, do you feel that it would help those that live in, I want to say, more privileged neighborhoods, more nicer side of towns, if they would step out of their box and their bubble and come over to the other areas and actually see what's going on and, you know, get to know the people that live in those areas? Do you feel that that would help adjust their perspective of
Yes,
what's going on?
yes, Q. I totally 100% agree. My grandparents raised me, and I was a spoiled brat. I didn't even realize how spoiled I was until I hit 18 years old and decided to move out on my own. And, you know, I had some struggles growing up, but nothing compared to when you meet the cold, cruel, hard world. And going to Mexico and seeing the way some people live, you know, that brings you back to gratitude and humble.
Yeah.
I mean, do we have a comment? Do you think it's okay to scold someone else's child? That's far from mentoring.
Well, not really scolding, but you need, especially when it comes to drugs, alcohol, abuse, you know, irrational behavior. You know, think about it. Smoking a cigarette. You know, I'm guilty of it. I wish somebody would have came and told me 7 years ago when I started smoking not to be doing that stuff. You know, this is how much it's going to cost you. This is what you're going to smell like. You're going to have a monkey on your back that ain't going to want to let turn loose. You know, I'm doing good. I'm trying to quit. I'm down to 5 a day compared to what it was. But do I believe in scolding somebody else's children? No, I don't believe in whooping other people's children. But I do believe in actually talking to the children. Hey, you do not need to be doing this. You're 16 years old. You either put that out or I'm calling the cops. You know? There's a difference between having a discussion and getting in your face military style, because I'm a military brat, and when you make my papa mad or my daddy mad, let me tell you something, that drill sergeant comes out, and I'm not that kind of person. I have rather level with them on their level, have a common discussion with them, because that is not my child, and if I do know the child, I will address it to the parent and tell them, hey, me and them had a discussion, this is what was said, and like James says, you know, I record my conversations also, and it's not just for me, but it's for somebody else, especially when you're dealing with somebody else's children, because they want to know, because I'm a parent, what exactly said to my child.
Mr. James?
There's that mentality, and we talked about it earlier, the tribe mentality where, you know, people say we need to be supporting each other and helping each other raise kids and helping each other out, but we can't have it both ways. We can't say, well, I've got both parents working, you know, I'm working, he's working, we can't be there for our kids all the time, but then whenever somebody addresses your kid and straightens them out and they do something, and I'm not talking about if obviously if somebody hits your kid or
oh right, it's
you know
it's on like Donkey Kong,
yeah,
man.
like then there's a difference there. But if your kid comes home and says that Miss So-and-so or Mr. whoever scolded me today and chewed me up and down because I was doing this or doing that, and you go to Mr. So-and-so or Miss whoever and get in their face or make a Facebook post or make a social media post, that negates that whole tribe mentality. You know, that negates everything. Like, why depend on other people if you're going to be upset and defensive over your kid whenever somebody just addresses them?
All right, we have a few more Facebook comments. I'll let you get to. Lachey says the last thing we need is, as Black people, is the police called on us. And then Melanie Prunty says, I think Jonesboro's youth need to reach the youth of Jonesboro. Mm-hmm. That may be the new way to appeal to the troubled youth. That hasn't been done as much as it could be. Miss Melanie, can you expound on what you mean by Jonesboro youth reaching out to the youth?
Okay, on another quote it was saying that, okay, while she doing that, Jonesboro parks just have Parker Park and Allen Park on the offer basketball. No, they offer a lot more things, and it's open to a lot of more things if you would use it.
Yes.
It's a community center, but that's all you want to do is play basketball. That's all you want to do. But if you want to go in there and teach art, teach dancing lessons, teach cooking lessons, and all this, it's available.
We just got to plan and sit down
Right.
and decide we're going to do it. I would like to see, because I'm a big fan of the arts. Without music, people don't realize how much math, how much education, how much mentality and intelligence you have to use for the fine arts, whether it be writing, video, photography, instrumental, writing music, whatever. The arts is a big foundation in our children's lives. And without that, I would actually like to see the Foundation of Arts or some of the band teachers here in town get together with NJNI or one of these organizations and sit down and decide, hey, one time a month or a couple times a month, we have instruments, that we can try to get if the community was available. Oh, I'm sorry, Q.
No, go ahead. I was gonna just jump in after. At City Youth Ministries, there is a professor from ASU who does offer some classes after school. I do know that there's a young man putting together a clinic for musicians coming. It's gonna be presented in the summer, but he's working on this year to get the practicing and all that. So there are a few things. I do want to ask this question. While we do have a few mentor groups, do you all feel that people start something and they're more focused on the quantity versus the quality, or they give up too soon if things don't seem to be going at
Their
a pace
way.
that they expect?
They give up too soon.
It happens.
They give up too soon.
It does, yeah. I agree. People do give up too soon when it comes to stuff like that, and I say that I actually, I have a degree. I don't know this. I have a degree in education. I have 2 degrees in education, and when I graduated school, my goal was to go into education and go into teaching, and so I actually taught at Inner City Jonesboro School, and I'm not saying I quit, no, not by any means, but I realized real quickly that there was other avenues for me to take life.
Right.
And I saw people that started these programs multiple times with my students, literally a month after starting the program, disappear and be gone. 2 months after starting the program with these kids, just disappear and be gone. And it was heartbreaking to say that and see that, to see these kids that would have these after school programs and then they would just be like, all right, well,
A lot of them, they lose funding, losing funding.
Yeah, they do.
And losing encouragement. When you lose hope and faith, it's hard to get it back. And when you come and you sit for the allotted time that you're going to do this and nobody show up, that's hard on a soul, and that's understandable. But you have to work through it. You have to work through it. You have to.
But I'm put it this way: I run a business. If don't nobody show up, I'm still there.
Yeah.
Why we can't do this with our children? Just because they don't show up, how come we just can't keep waiting? They're going to come.
Brother Cobbs, not everybody's like us.
Well, I understand that, but if you're in business anywhere, it's not going to be 100% every day. So why not put these programs together and wait on it?
I mean, realistically, though, in talking about programs, realistically, we have to look at it. If kids aren't going, then why? What is making whoever's teaching that stay for an extended period of time, especially if they're not getting paid? Because they're taking away from their personal life.
A lot of that stuff is after school, and unless they have a way home other than walking home, they don't really have. See, I ran into that before my grandparents got involved in my life. There's a lot of stuff I would like to have done. But when your mother is a single parent, there's only one car and they're working, it's hard to be the child in this situation.
I want to read
sometimes.
A few more Facebook comments. Dr. Lily Fear says, I used to conduct reading clubs for youth during the summer thanks to grants from Arkansas Humanities Council. Melanie expounded on her comment. She says, for example, the youth the young adults and teenagers of Jonesboro, stepping out to reach the young people that are struggling, troubled, and are in need of guidance as we relate more in this time than more adults. So maybe the youth that are doing well,
yes,
can create programs, but backed by adults to reach the youth because they can relate to them more so than, like me, I'm in my 40s. While I can relate to some on some levels, I may not can relate.
Wait a minute. What's the difference? The Bible is the same, no matter the
saying-
young and old. But I'm saying a lot of people
they're more
wait a minute.
relatable.
A lot of people will always want to change. The youth can do this, the youth can do that. If I tell my child to do something, I don't care how old they are. They
I know
need
you
to
better do
because
it.
of respect. So you don't need to. I understand what you're saying. We don't always need to break it down for them. Sometimes they need to just come on up to the standard and go for it. Because if you break it down too much, it gets you lose the value. You lose the point.
Well, it's not about breaking it down. I think you need to find a meeting place for the young people. You got to bring.
Bridge the gap.
yes.
Yeah, so if it takes someone that's a little bit younger than me to reach them and kind of get them in, then I come in with my knowledge and wisdom and
Okay,
keep it going.
let me ask you this: when you was growing up, did you have young people telling you what to do, or did you have your parents telling you? And which one did you understood the most?
Unfortunately, where I live.
But we old though. That's what they're saying. We old.
Unfortunately, where I live, the people that could have been mentors, they went to college and moved away. I lived in a small rural town, so I didn't have a choice but to be around older people. I didn't have that option to have younger mentors, so I can't answer that.
I'm like you, Q. I was raised by older people. I relate better to older people, but I do understand because my sister's that way. She's the youngest of all four of us, but she relates more towards what is geared towards younger people, as in, you know, their habits, their what's the word I'm looking for? What they're interested in, what they value, what they respect, and put it to where they would.
We need to be relatable. But if I've been through something, I can teach a young person, don't do this because the consequences is this. What can a young person teach another young person if they go out there and do something? You don't know the consequences of it. It takes both.
All right.
It takes both.
I'm going to read a few Facebook comments, and then we're going to kind of swing back around to our original question. Okay, so Mr. Colby says, the work is very hard, and most of the time you're not going to get the results you want. Most organizations don't last due to burnout or lack of funding. Cameron McMahon says, consistency is key for any change. It's one thing to create the environment, but maintaining it is what makes it conducive. How are the systems? It keeps rolling. How are the systems programs reciprocating itself for those who are successful to come to do the teaching? Longevity is key to address hope. Dr. LaFear says the kids aren't going. Find out why they're not going. Same issue with getting kids to church on Sunday. Cameron says if kids aren't going, you have to evaluate what's keeping them from wanting to go. Everything must be person-centered. You are to find a way to make what's important to be addressed and what's important for. Okay, so basically, and then other people are saying, Dennis Thompson says stand in the gap. So I guess basically what people are saying, create the program. If kids are not coming, then find out why, and then readjust and reevaluate your program to meet their needs and what's important to them. And this is one thing why I starting Camp Radio is to bring the kids in and give them a space to discuss their needs and their desires. Because I, as an adult, can create all kind of programs, but it may not be what they need in that time, in that moment. But we're gonna have to take a pause right there. When we come back from our break, we'll wrap up our discussion and kind of focus back around, go back around to our original question about the crime rate, and then try to tie in all this other information into it. Thank you all for listening. Please don't go away. We'll be right back after these announcements.
You're listening to our thoughts on the matter on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
dramatic rise in allergies has resulted in more and more people experiencing the pain of sinus headaches. Sinus headaches are not a life-threatening condition, but they certainly affect her quality of life. Sinus headaches occur when a sinus cavity just below the eyes becomes inflamed. In rare cases, inflammation can be caused by a tumor, but most often, an allergic reaction or infection is the cause. A sinus headache is characterized by localized pain and is often accompanied by a fever. Blockage of the sinuses often leads to congestion of the nasal passages and a buildup of pressure resulting in a headache. Sinus headaches are treated by antihistamines, decongestants, and sometimes antibiotics. Avoid the allergens that cause sinus headaches and see your doctor for help if the headaches persist. I'm Alexis Comer for Black Health Now.
Black Health Now. Black Health Now is made possible by the Jonesboro Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, a nonprofit organization focused on joy in our sisterhood, power in our voice, and service in our hearts. www.jonesboroalumnidst.org.
Black Health Now is brought to you by the Guide Right Jonesboro Kappa League, a nonprofit organization that guides young men to a life of achievement. Kappa League Jonesboro on Facebook, Jonesboro_Kappa League on Instagram, and Jonesboro Kappa League at gmail.com.
Black Health Now is made possible by CJ Pepper and the staff of Life Strategies Counseling Incorporated, counseling individuals and groups of all ages. 1-866-972-1268. LSCIHelp.com.
Support for KLEK is brought to you by
Another Glenn Sain story. One night, Gail and I were at home watching TV, and she looked at her phone and she said, "I don't like this autocorrect when texting." Our preacher had texted Gail to ask her where the women's Christmas party is going to be to put it in the church bulletin. She texted him back, and she didn't notice till later, instead of it saying the Manchester house, it said the man cheater's house. I said, that's not good. Glenn Sain, God bless our troops.
Support for KLEK is brought to you by
Fullness of Joy Ministries, 2120 Thorn Street, Jonesboro, under the direction of Bishop Adrian Rogers and co-pastor Susan Rogers. www.fjministries.org.
And now back to our thoughts on the matter on KLEK 102.5 FM.
All right, welcome back to the last segment of our thoughts on the matter. And so we're going to wrap up our discussion and try to kind of bring it back around to, the crime rate in Jonesboro and see how we can tie in the discussion of, more programs and more community outreach and law enforcement engagement and things of that nature. What can be done for, this is our city, we live here. Many people work and pay taxes, and they want to see their city grow and prosper in a positive direction. So, one, do you feel like the city, Jonesboro, is more or less safe than, say, Memphis and other surrounding areas that do have record numbers of crime rate, high record numbers of crime? Or are we okay? It just, things are happening so close together that now it's creating an awareness.
Jonesboro is incredibly. I 100% feel confident that I could walk from one end of Jonesboro to the other end of Jonesboro and not have an issue. I feel like my girlfriend, I feel like you could walk from one end of Jonesboro to the other end of Jonesboro and not have an issue whatsoever.
Other than being out of breath.
There's no way that anybody should logically look at Jonesboro and say, oh my God, Jonesboro's getting as bad as Memphis. Like, Jonesboro's getting as bad as St. Louis, where you could potentially be killed for driving down the wrong street. You could potentially be killed or wearing the wrong, and that's a real possibility and a real thing that people in those communities deal with that for the most part in Jonesboro, we don't have to deal with. And that stems back to my original comment of social media. People from Jonesboro, Northeast Arkansas, I'm not going to say live in a bubble, but we've been sheltered to crime. So whenever crime happens now and we have social media that is able to propel that and people are able to see that consistently, to see this consistently, it makes people say, oh my God, Jonesboro is just getting so bad. I could park downtown and leave my car unlocked, and I'm about 85% confident that my car is not going to get broken into. I would never do that. Obviously, I would never freaking do that. But
my OCD wouldn't let me.
if you go to Memphis and you park anywhere in Memphis, I'm probably not going to leave the eye line of my car because I think someone's going to drive off with the freaking thing.
Yeah.
But Jonesboro is incredibly safe, and it's frustrating that people say it's not safe. You know, this is our community, so whenever you bash our community, that does no good whatsoever.
Unless
You know, a lot of people are talking about there's nothing to do. If you go by to any doctor's office, lawyer's office, whoever, that have the Jonesboro Occasion magazine, there's a lot of stuff to do in Jonesboro that
Honey,
we don't even
look
know,
at our
that we don't
KLEK
even know about.
website. You can look on my website. You can look on Q's website. There's something always.
Well, let me
going
ask
on.
you this though, because I've heard, criticism concerning the occasions is that the events that they host, and this is not my personal attack against them. This is what I've seen, that it's one-sided. So, again, going back to
why is it one-sided? Do we try to change it to make it two-sided?
That goes into a different topic.
It's a whole nother. But I do want to bring up, and I don't like to get into a lot of race division type discussion, but it has come up in a discussion. So again, since we presume that the highest crime rate is among the people of color of this community, what then do we as leaders in this community to do, or can we do to step up and say, okay, let's either create programs, activities, outlets, or something?
We also need it as a leader, mentor, public figure in our community. We need to step up and encourage the community to work with the police department, because without witness, you can't arrest somebody just on suspicion. You have to have evidence. And majority of the time, it's either DNA or eyewitness, or somebody dropped a glove and they found it. Think about it. Without eyewitness testimony, they know what's going on, and they are keeping their mouth shut because, one, they're in fear of retaliation because snitches get stitches, or they don't want to be involved in it and have to go to trial and all this other mess. But we as a community need to step up and work with our police department, because without that eyewitness testimony to prove that there was a problem, it's not going to go nowhere. Just like the arson fire I was talking about, there's 6 people that was standing around. There is eyewitness to it, but they're scared of those people, those drug dealers, because they're scared they're going to get shot up for snitches being snitches. So, we all need to step up and talk to our police department. If you see something, say something. That's just all it is to it.
Okay, we are talking about
the way I feel
initiating programs and stuff. That's why we had voting in the election 2 months ago. Our aldermen need to help us to get different programs started. Were you there? You know what's going on. You the mediator between us and the city government. Why not?
But it also takes individuals. Again, we elected certain people. We have to attend those meetings. We have to speak up, voice our concerns. We have to be present, not just a voice behind.
You have to hold them accountable. They are human beings. They're not robots. They're human beings, and you have got to hold them accountable. If they run on something, you hold it to them. That's just all it is to it.
So,
if they doing something wrong, hold it to them.
And then, I've seen in other cities where the leaders of the community will actually go out and confront. Not that it's safe, but they will go out and confront those that are determined to commit crime and let them know that we are not going to let you bully us and push us around in the area where we live. So, again, do we need to start taking to the streets more and being more present and more vigilant in our approach? I mean, I don't know. I'm just asking questions.
Me, myself, and I'm more of a hands-on person. I do a lot of confrontation, not necessarily as in fighting, screaming, hollering, but to start a discussion. Why are you doing this? I know your mama. You were raised better in that. I know a lot of my friends who have stepped on, I might say, the dark side of illegal trades and stuff. Well, because we make more money doing that. But just because it's easy money don't mean that's the right kind of money,
And if you choose to do that and you get pulled over and the cops drag you out of the vehicle because they have a legitimate reason to believe that you have 10 pounds of whatever you're doing in there, don't get on Facebook and be like, oh, police brutality. No. You made that decision.
Accountability. And that's another thing we need to teach our children is accountability and respect.
All right. Well, I want to say hello to everyone out there watching and listening. Sorry I didn't call each one of your names.
I just shared this on my Facebook, so followers will be coming.
All right, Mr. Clark D'Angelo says it's time for small organizations and organizations on bigger levels to work together. Now that's one thing. There are a lot of programs and organizations within the city. We do need to make a more collaborative effort to come together, put our egos aside, our selfish ambitions, and come together for the city as a whole.
Yes.
If we want the city to be prosperous, we want it to be a wonderful, safe place to live. Yes, we have to come together. And thank you to Mr. Kobe Parker and Dr. Lily Fierce, who said that this is a great conversation. Thank you to the panelists.
Thank you.
And let's not let the conversation stop here. Yes, the crime happened. It's been happening. It just so happened to happen back to back, the first part of the year. Let's keep the conversation, the ideas going. Let's start working together. KLEK is here to be a middle ground for those who want to, come together. So reach out to us. We are one of your media sources.
Right.
Can I just say something about the shootings? Can we please trash and burn any of those comments that say the Jonesboro's as bad as Memphis? We've had more shootings than Memphis in 2019. Can we please get rid of that and stop that?
We have to look at the per capita population as well. Memphis has a larger population than Jonesboro, so...
And I have rather live here than Memphis any day. I'm sorry, but that's just me.
It may seem higher, but we have a smaller population, so...
People are so dramatic about that.
Jesus
Lord.
It is getting worse, but not as bad as Memphis.
Come on, Q, get your point in right
I just
quick.
want to thank everybody for joining us. Thank you for listening wherever you are. Thank you for supporting KLEK. Thank you to the panelists for being open and honest with your comments and your opinions. Again, everything expressed here is thoughts and views of the panelists. It does not necessarily reflect those of KLEK. But let's not let the discussion stop today. Let's keep it going.
Yes.
Leaders of the community, I'm reaching out to you to step up. Let's start, taking care of our people.
I agree.
That means churches also.
All right, yes, definitely. Up to those that do go to church, have a discussion at church. Start having discussions in your home. Encourage your kids that are doing well to reach out to other kids,
Mm-hmm.
We got to start looking out for each other, our neighbor, next door, across the street, across town, whatever the case.
Love thy neighbor.
Yeah.
Help thy neighbor.
All right, so I want to thank everybody again for tuning in, for watching. Sorry about the glitches. This one, the Facebook video, it will be on YouTube a little bit later, so you can check it out there. All right, so any final thoughts in our last 30 seconds? Anybody?
Love y'all. Y'all have a good weekend. Enjoy this beautiful weather.
Listen to Victory Praise tomorrow from 7 to 6 o'clock.
Jonesboro Occasions Wedding Videographer of the Year right here, so they can't be that.
Right,
can't be
that's what I'm
that
saying. Somebody supposed to say they don't do one side.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Get in touch with them.
Yeah, you just gotta let them know. You gotta let them know.
All right. On that, we want to leave it there. Thank you, everybody. Have a great and blessed day.
Wolves up.
Thank you for listening to our thoughts on the matter on KLEK 102.5 FM, a program offering opinions from all sides of the issues concerning local, state, and national topics of importance to the Jonesboro